vanished, without a trace. The disappearance of Bryce Laspisa. Imagine driving alone on a California highway late at night. It's quiet, too quiet. You check your phone, no new messages. Ahead, the road stretches endlessly into the darkness. You're almost home. At least that's what your family thinks. But then, something happens. Hours later, your car is found overturned at the edge of a lake. The back window shattered. Your belongings are inside, and you vanished without a trace. This isn't fiction. This is the real story of Bryce Laspisa, a 19-year-old college student whose disappearance has haunted investigators, baffled experts, and tormented his family for more than a decade. Tonight, we'll retrace every step of Bryce's final hours, explore the theories, the chilling evidence, and the questions that remain unanswered to this day. Because one thing is certain: people don't just disappear. To understand what happened to Bryce, we need to know who he was. Bryce David Laspisa was born on April 30, 1994, in Illinois, to Karen and Michael Laspisa. By all accounts, Bryce had a good childhood. His parents were loving and supportive. He grew up with strong family values, enjoyed art, and loved technology. Friends described him as charismatic, funny, and always the life of the party. In high school, Bryce excelled at art, particularly graphic design. After graduation, his parents moved to Laguna Niguel, California, a sunny, upscale community in Orange County. Bryce stayed in-state for college, enrolling at Sierra College in Rocklin, about 465 miles north of his parents' home. There, he studied industrial and graphic design, a passion he hoped to turn into a career. College life seemed good for Bryce. He made friends easily, including his roommate Sean Dixon and his girlfriend Kim Sly. The three spent time together regularly. By summer 2013, Bryce appeared happy, stable, and focused. But sometimes appearances can hide the truth. Because in late August of that year, Bryce started to change. Friends noticed Bryce drinking heavily, more than usual. He was also taking Vyvanse, a prescription stimulant for ADHD, though it's unclear if it was prescribed to him. Vyvanse can increase focus, but when abused, especially with alcohol, it can cause mood swings, paranoia, and erratic behavior. Over those final days, Bryce became distant, restless, and unsettled. No one could explain why. August 27, 2013. The last normal day anyone remembers. Bryce spent the evening with Kim, but out of nowhere, he broke up with her. No warning, no real reason, just, it's over. Kim was blindsided. They'd been close for months, and by all accounts, things were fine. She begged him to explain, but Bryce was cold, distant, and strangely unemotional. This wasn't like him. Something had shifted. The next day, August 28, 2013, Bryce got in his beige 2003 Toyota Highlander and started driving. Destination, his parents' home in Laguna Niguel. A 7-hour trip. At first, this seemed normal. Maybe he wanted space after the breakup. But what happened over the next 24 hours is a timeline so bizarre, so unsettling, that even seasoned investigators can't fully explain it. At 10:01 p.m., Bryce left Kim's apartment. He told her not to worry. He told his roommate, Sean, he was heading home. But instead of going straight there, Bryce drove to a friend's house where he stayed briefly. Sean later said Bryce seemed off, like something was wrong. Concerned, Sean even took Bryce's car keys. But Bryce convinced him he was fine and eventually got the keys back. At 11:30 p.m., Bryce began his journey south. For the first few hours, nothing unusual happened. But then, Bryce stopped. In Buttonwillow, California, a tiny town along Interstate 5, he pulled off the highway and parked. And he stayed there for hours. From early morning until late afternoon, 13 hours, Bryce sat in his car, doing nothing. He spoke to his parents multiple times on the phone, assuring them he was okay. When they asked what he was doing, he simply said, "I'm just relaxing." During this time, Bryce also contacted his insurance company to arrange a tow for a minor fuel issue. The tow truck driver later reported that Bryce seemed calm, polite, and even cheerful. Nothing suggested distress. But why was he there for so long? Why not drive home? No one knows. At 11:09 p.m., nearly 24 hours after leaving college, Bryce called his mother again. He said he was on his way home. He promised he'd see them soon. But Bryce never arrived. At 8:10 a.m. on August 30th, 2013, the California Highway Patrol knocked on Karen and Michael's door. They had devastating news. Bryce's car was found overturned near Castaic Lake, about 90 minutes north of Laguna Niguel. The Toyota Highlander had tumbled down a 25-foot embankment and landed on its side. The back window was smashed out. From the inside, someone had escaped. Inside the car were Bryce's wallet, laptop, and phone. There was no blood, no signs of injury. Search dogs tracked his scent to a nearby truck stop, then lost the trail. It was as if Bryce had vanished into thin air. After exhaustive searches, drones, helicopters, divers, no trace of Bryce was found. So what happened? Investigators and armchair detectives have proposed three main theories. Theory 1. Voluntary disappearance. Did Bryce want to start over? His breakup, his strange behavior, the vivants, all point to possible mental distress. But if that's true, why leave everything behind? Theory 2. Suicide or accident. Did Bryce wander into the wilderness or drown in the lake? Extensive searches found nothing. Theory 3. Foul play. Could someone have picked him up? Or did Bryce meet someone during those long, unexplained hours in Buttonwillow? Investigators have never ruled it out. Online communities have dissected every detail of this case for years. Reddit threads, YouTube analyses, podcasts. Everyone has a theory. Some believe Bryce suffered a psychotic break from Vivant's abuse. Others think he planned his disappearance. A few believe something far darker happened that night. It's been more than a decade, and Bryce's parents still search for answers. His mother, Karen, believes he's alive. Somewhere. Somehow. The question is, where? What do you think happened to Bryce Laspisa? Was it a mental break, a planned escape, or something far more sinister? Leave your theories in the comments below, and if you have any information, contact the authorities, because this case is far from closed.